Hi friends, welcome to my channel Plants and Birds. Friends, think that if you plant a seedling, the most important required necessity for that seedling growth is mineral nutrition. As we all know that mineral nutrients are available to plants in soluble form. When dissolved in universal solvent, that is water, then only the nutrients are absorbed and absorbed by the roots and provide growth and leads to production of that plant. Therefore, water plays a very important role in plant growth and development. Now, let us learn about water management in horticultural and agricultural crops so that we know the importance of water in plants. Firstly, water is the main constituent of life on earth. Plants, animals, and microorganisms need water for the existence of their life. 71% of the earth's surface is filled with water, but the water is enough salty water so that the plants cannot use whole water as for their livelihood. And each plant cell is consists of 80 to 90% of water for their turgidity. Turgidity is nothing but a shape of the cell. To maintain shape of the cell, the plant need 80 to 90% of water. Next, importance of water in crop production can be studied in two categories. They are physiological importance, ecological importance. For example, physiological importance, 80 to 90% of plant cell contains water in stem apex and root apex. But in stem apex and root tip, meristems contain more than 90%. This shows the role of water in growth. How water permits growth. Okay, but in ecological importance, stem, leaf, fruit requires 80 to 90% of water for their growth and development. And grains must contain 10 to 15% of moisture for their germination or for use also. First, we learn about the physiological importance. Water acts as the raw material for all biochemical reactions and metabolic activities in the plant system. That means any biochemical reaction or metabolic activity, that is catabolism and anabolism, means breaking and combining of molecules, and biochemical reactions like photosynthesis, okay, photorespiration, transpiration, all this occurs in presence of water only. Hence water acts as a raw material for all these processes involved in transpiration and respiration. This helps to maintain the leaf temperature also, transpiration and respiration. Water is essential component of photosynthesis. As it undergoes photolysis, it releases hydrogen and oxygen with electrons also. It helps in the, so it is a essential component of photosynthesis required for all growth stages of the plant. See, when we plant a seed, when we sow a seed, it requires 40 to 60% of moisture to germinate. Without that moisture content, a seed cannot be germinate. And in vegetative phase, if water is not given in early vegetative phase, the plant growth is retarded, and if higher drought conditions are appeared, the plant may also die. And in reproductive stages, if the plant is not given with sufficient water, the fruit set cannot be occur. So that the water plays a very important role in every stage of the plant growth. Water acts as solvent and carrier of plant nutrients from soil to the plant system. As nutrients are in a solid form, they cannot be absorbed directly into the plant. So it must be dissolved in the soil water and then must be absorbed by the first the roots absorb the nutrients and water, then only it absorbs. Absorption occurs after adsorption. Maintain temperature through transpiration. As I told that when the transpiration occurs, leaf temperature can be maintained as water content will be increased on the transpiration surface. Involves in turgidity of the plant cells. As we know that turgidity is nothing but the shape of the plants. If plant need a shape and a economic shape to get, you must give a water in a sufficient way. Otherwise it will wilt. It will lose its shape. Wilting is nothing but losing of its shape, losing of its turgidity, that is cell losing its turgidity and become flaccid. Okay. Next is ecological importance. Nothing but it is ecologically how it is important. Main Earth's temperature. Earth's temperature can be controlled by what rainfalls, water. Okay, so Earth temperature can be controlled by water itself. Maintain salt balance in the soil. Reduce salinity and alkalinity. If you give a little amount of water, sufficient amount of water, then the salts can be balanced in such amount of water. If you give a high amount of water, then the salts can come up from the ground level and leads to salinity and alkalinity. So that water can be given in adequate quantity so that the reduced salinity and alkalinity can be seen. Water helps for the growth of beneficial microorganisms. Every microorganism, every living organism need water for their subsistence. So therefore beneficial microorganisms are present in the soil, which helpful for the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium availability to the plants, so that they are beneficial. They also need a sufficient moisture content for their growth and development. Water helps in farming activities. Basically farming activities like sowing. Before sowing the seed, water must be given for sufficient moisture, and after the sowing seeds, after germination, the plant must be irrigated twice or thrice a week according to the temperature. Okay, and for nutrition uptake, all these farming activities comes under the is done by water itself. Next, when we see our India has 224 million hectares of dry land which depend on monsoon itself, water is not sufficient for, as 71% of earth is filled with water, but all water is not fit for the plant growth, so that 224 million hectares depend on monsoons itself. As water helps in cropping pattern and cropping product, water plays a basic role in cropping pattern and crop productivity. Water is considered as a liquid gold. Okay, what is meant by irrigation management and why it is required for better growth of plants? The growth of plant is retarded if the water is not sufficient and not in adequate amount. And to obtain higher yields, if what main thing is, if water is not sufficient, the yields can be reduced very drastically. It is the main thing. Efficient utilization of manures and fertilizers. As I told that manures and main mineral nutrients are available in solid form. It must be dissolved in water and then must be absorbed, and absorption can be occurs. Better utilization of equipments can be done, so that irrigation management is required. Next, now we will learn what is meant by irrigation, what is meant by management, then what is meant by irrigation management. First, what is irrigation? Artificial application means we ourselves with artificially applying, not naturally. It artificial application of water to the soil for the purpose of crop growth. We need that crop to grow, so that we giving the water to that to dissolve the minerals and to give growth to the plant, and or crop production, to supplement rainfall and groundwater contribution. To supplement rainfall, see, if rainfall is not there, then we must do, and if not, groundwater contribution is not sufficient, then we must undergo this irrigation, that is artificial application of water to the soil. What is meant by then management? Regulation of farming activities depending on irrigation resources. What are the resources we have? That with that we regulating that farming activities for its efficient, that resource is efficient use and better yield, to get a better yield. This is known as management. Then what is meant by irrigation management? Management of irrigation resources efficiently. That is, what as a resource, if you have pond, is a small pond, then you must think that what efficiently we can use that. Management of irrigation resources efficiently based on soil. If you have sandy soils, then more water is required. If you have clay soils like black soils, they require very less water, as they hold more water content on the clay substance. Based on soil and environment. If environment is too hot, then also water is required higher. If environment is cold enough, then water is required is water requirement is less than compared to summer. Okay, to obtain better yield without affecting the environment. We doing this all things, creating pond and doing drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation without affecting any environment. Okay, next thing is factor determining irrigation management. What determines irrigation management? This management, which determines it? Soil physical and chemical properties mainly determines the irrigation management. Then what are the soil physical and chemical properties? We will see one by one. Here, when come into the texture, when we take a handful of soil, we will found stones, small rocky substances, sand and clay that is very smooth, very less than 0.002 mm. We will found that is known as clay. Somehow bigger is called a slit, and greater than 0.02 mm they are called as sand. Okay, this all three combination gives rise to the soil. Okay, this is about the texture. Okay, structure is nothing but, if you have a structure is granular, crumbly, okay, platy, means it is very soft and very platy like structure. There is no percolation of water also. Premacetic, massive, columnar. Massive means nothing but it is like a rock. Okay, columnar, blocky, single grain. Okay, this all comes under the structure. And soil color also determines the irrigation management. That are colors are red soil, black soil, alluvial soil. Different types of soils can be seen. Okay. Next, soil full. The soil full up to from when we dig the soil to the certain long down, then we will see different origins. Example, organic origin. The uppermost layer is known as organic origin, as organic matter is higher in the upper origin, as organic matter can be seen on the upper portion, is known as organic origin. Surface or A origin, surface origin or A origin. Okay, next subsurface origin, that is B origin, can be seen. Next, first one, the texture. See, this is a textural triangle. Is nothing but we know how much sand, how much slit, how much clay is present in a given soil. Okay, if you see on the left hand side down, okay, then there will 100. That shows that 100% the soil is sandy soil, 100% sandy soil. If you come on the right hand side, it is 100% slitty soil. If go to the upper top of the triangle, then it is 100% clay soil. But for cultivation of crops, clay loamy soils are very useful for their cultivation. See, clay means nothing but it is very have capability to hold water. Loamy is nothing but it has a porous structure. It can be penetrate the water. These two properties when combined, they will give a better soil that is known as clay loamy soil, which is very useful for very suitable for the plant growth and development. Okay, next, see here what is meant by clay. Holds more water, slow to absorb water, slow to release water. It absorbs water in a slow manner, but also release water in a slow manner also. Okay, they keep the water in a efficient way. Sand is extremely porous, allows quick water flow. Okay, if you take 1 cup of sand and pour water in that, the water will go on percolating. There no standing of water can be seen. Loamy soil, very porous. Water can be gone, but some moisture can be retains moisture. It is optimal soil type. So the loamy soils are known as very optimal soils. Okay, but clay soils holds more water. It does not leaves in a slow manner. This is the main thing. Okay, factor determining irrigation management in a brief. Soil physical and chemical property, as I discussed. Texture, structure, color, pH all comes under soil physical and chemical properties. Biology of crop plant, water management. Okay, if the crop is enough have with water is have sufficient water is there, then the crop need very less water. If it not there, then it is wilted, that is plants will become flaccid, then more water is required. So the biology of the plant also determines the irrigation management. Quantum of water available for irrigation, how much water you have to irrigate, that also determines irrigation management. If you have more water, you can give 3 times a week irrigation, otherwise 2 times a week. Okay, so likewise, time of application of water, there are some critical stages, that is during germination, 40 to 60% moisture is required, no? So that moisture must be compulsory given through irrigation management. That is one of the critical. Next, after germination, we must see them without wilting. That is one of the critical stage. And after vegetative growth, when the reproductive growth comes, we must give water as to retain the reproductive structures and to produce the produce the products from that crop. Okay, next, based on method of application of water. Okay, if you apply in a furrow method, okay, then you leave the water in a level, then this shows that you have more enough water. If you go under the drip irrigation, okay, there is a very 80 to 90% of efficiency is seen, water use efficiency. This is where water is less quantity. Climate and meteorological factors. When climate is hot, water requirement is high. When climate is cold, water requirement is comparatively less than summer and winter. You can identify those, as relative humidity also determines the climatic and meteorological factors. Okay, what does goes if you done excess irrigation? Wastage of valuable water occurs. Leaching of plant nutrients takes place. If you give nutrients, if you give full water, okay, more than enough water, then the nutrients will leach out from the soil, that it not available to the plant growth. Destruction of beneficial. When we give more water, it creates a anaerobic condition in the soil, which leads to death of beneficial microorganisms which are required for the plant growth and development. Increase in expense of drainage. You did that so that the plants can be died, or it leads to the pest and diseases, so the expenses can be increased. Okay, accumulation of salts. When you when you flood the land, the salts can accumulate from the ground level to the upper layer of the soil, which leads to accumulation of salts, which relatively leads to death of the plants also. Okay, waterlogging stress can be seen. Waterlogging stress is nothing but the plant cannot take enough oxygen, lead to the cause of death and wilting of the plant can be seen. Okay, crop and yield loss can be as a result, which gives rise to crop and yield loss. Okay, next. Okay, as I tell, excess irrigation gives rise to wastage of valuable water, leaching of plant nutrients, destruction of beneficial microbes, increase in expenses on drainage, accumulation of salts, and that is salinity and alkalinity, waterlogging stress can be seen, crop and yield loss. Lastly, crop and yield loss we can get that. It shows that how much the water is needed to the plant. Only that sufficient water must be given to the plant, otherwise the crop undergo yield loss. If not given sufficient water also, the crop undergo yield loss. Okay, see how salts bring. As I told here, in accumulation of salts occurs. This accumulation of salts, how it occurs? See, in groundwater is mostly saline in nature. When you give water through capillary action takes place between groundwater and the surface water, and leads to capillary action brings salt to the surface. Okay, this is the main thing. Then we will learn what is capillary action. Capillary action is a movement of water within the spaces of a porous material, that is soil. There is a small spaces in the soil, that within that spaces there is a continuous movement of the water due to forces of adhesion, cohesion and surface tension of the water. What is meant by addition? Between same molecules, water molecules, between the attraction between same molecules, and different attraction between different molecules is cohesion. Okay, when water and soil is attracted, what is the relation? That relation is known as cohesion. Surface tension, without leaving a small gap also it is flowing to the upper or lower side. This shows capillary action. Okay, surface tension of water, this leads to capillary action. Plant use capillary action to draw water from the soil. How the plant get water from the down to upward? Through a capillary action. Okay, this is very important to note it. Deficit irrigation. What is going to happen if you didn't give sufficient, that is less water is given, not given sufficient water? See, here there is a picture in that where regular irrigation is provided, the leaves are healthy, greeny, and without wilting they show very high productivity also. See, in deficit irrigation, crop is undergone color, that is what, necrosis, that is death of cells, and undergoes yield loss and wilting. This all come under the crop yield and quality losses also can be seen if you done deficit irrigation. Okay, then what are the sources we have for water? What are the sources? Surface source are rainy water. Okay, mainly rainwater and ponds are the surface sources of the irrigation water. Subsurface, these are nothing but borewells. Borewells are the subsurface water sources. Okay, these are the two sources we have to know, sources of irrigation water. Okay, next, irrigation methods. On what methods you irrigating, that can be seen. Application of irrigation water to a crop plants by different layouts. Okay, we lay out. Okay, furrow method, basin method, we will see. Okay, factors influencing irrigation methods. First one, soil type. What is the soil type? Okay, if soil is texture is clay texture, then the water is required is less. Then you will must go undergo drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation, or furrow method can be followed. If texture is very fine structure soils are seen. If texture is light, okay, that is sandy, then furrow method cannot be followed. This all determines that. Okay, granular structures. See, as I told, granular structure soils allow free downward movement of water. This helps to give sufficient amount of water to the every root part of the plant. Okay, in light textured soils, water moves freely to deeper layers due to high porosity. Heavy textured soil restrict the movement of water to deeper layers. Okay, soil depth. Okay, next factor that influencing irrigation management is soil depth. How depth is the soil? See, shallow soil holds very less water. Okay, we need to do organic practices, nothing but green manuring. That is, Diancha and Sanam are called a king and queen of the green manure. When we give that, when we add that seeds to the field, and when we do green manure, it will keep the water as it undergoes organic, as it converts into organic matter. Okay, it improves the water holding capacity to increase irrigation intervals required. Okay, next, deep soils holds more water. Example, black soils or deep soils, they holds more water. If you give water in a week, once in a week, it's enough for their, as it holds water in the deep and at a layers, so that there is less requirement of water for the deep soils. Irrigation done at longer intervals. See, weekly we can done the irrigation, but in sandy soils we must do in the irrigation at least twice a week, so that the plant cannot be wilted. Okay, next, topography of the land, that is how it is the land. Is it is slopey, or it is not undulated, high and lower? higher and lower, okay, how it is, okay, on the shape of the land we can do the irrigation, okay. For example, undulated lands, drip and sprinkler irrigation is best, as at one place the soil is at higher level and another in lower level. This leads to accumulation of water at the lower level and lack of water, deficit in water in higher levels. This causes losses in the crop. And next, flooding, furrow method, basin method can also be seen under undulated lands. Regular irrigation method cannot be followed, okay. Flooding, furrow method, basin method, these three methods come under the based on topography of the land, okay. Next, climate. If you see that when there is a 10 degrees Celsius in the atmosphere, then there will be a compulsory 100% of relative humidity. When there is a 20 degrees Celsius in the atmosphere, the relative humidity reduces to half. If you increase the 10 degrees Celsius, the relative humidity is decreased by 50%. See, 52% of relative humidity will be seen when temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. When temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, it becomes 28% of relative humidity. Actually, the crop need more than 60% of relative humidity for their better growth and development, okay. Wind velocity, solar radiation, all this temperature, annual mean temperature determines the, okay, irrigation management, okay. Increase evaporation losses from soil. High temperature, what are the disadvantages? If you have high temperature, increase evaporation losses from the soil. There is evaporation loss from the soil. Frequent irrigation is required, okay. You must give 2 to 3 days of interval, you must give irrigation. All irrigation methods cannot be followed, okay. All cannot be followed, but irrigation methods like only we must do drip or sprinkler irrigation to quantify the water, okay. Okay, irrigation method to apply water directly to root zone are best, that is drip irrigation, okay, in high temperature.